3 in the bed and 1's my friend's son. MILF's Threesomes 40. Anal Sex MFM Threesome Erotica. Written by Nicki Menage. Narrated by Kline. 3 in the bed and 1's my friend's son. MILF's Threesomes 40. Anal Sex MFM Threesome Erotica. It took a lot of nagging from my friend Sharon, but eventually I agreed to take her son Blake and his friend Chris across state to watch their favorite football team play live. Sharon had agreed to pay for all my expenses, which definitely sweetened the pot. Blake and Chris were appreciative, of course. In fact, I'd never felt so needed. It had been a long time since anyone had wanted anything from me, and I was happy to help the two of them achieve a dream of theirs. At the hotel, the two of them checked in at reception using Sharon's card. I could overhear a discussion taking place in which Chris and Blake had started to argue. "What's going on?" I asked, approaching the desk. The receptionist was all smiles as Chris explained the predicament.
"So, Blake here accidentally booked us into a king."
"And?" I asked, confused.
"He only booked us into a king, the 3 of us, in one bed."
I looked to the receptionist, who held her smile. "I'm afraid we're fully booked, but we are willing to waive our policy and allow the 3 of you to share a bed if you'd like." Fuck, that was embarrassing. I cursed her under my breath for asking me publicly whether I'd like to spend the night sleeping with 2 men half my age.
"We'll take the car, Mrs. Connor," Blake said. "We can sleep in there."
"No, it's fine. It's only one night."
"You're sure?"
asked Chris. I took a deep breath and nodded.
"Great," said Chris,
a little too enthusiastically, taking the card from the receptionist.
"I'll grab your bag."
Chris hurried past, and Blake put his head in his hands. "He's so polite," I beamed, looking at Chris as he picked my case up with a smile.
"He's only doing it to get in your pants," Blake said.
I shot him a shocked look. "Blake!"
"What?"
I looked at Chris again. "It's still nice of him." Chris led the way, and I watched him now with fresh eyes. I'd never met Chris before, but I liked him immediately. Blake carried his case behind me, and I followed Chris as he led us down the corridors and to the room they'd booked. The hotel was much nicer than I'd anticipated. I'd expected the two of them to have booked 2 rooms in an absolute dive, but instead they'd booked 1 room in a classy place. "It could be worse, I guess," I said, looking back to Blake.
"How could it?"
"At least we made it, right?" Blake hummed.
"Here we are,"
Chris said, and he...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?